Baby Let's just start singing Baby Shark. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Can you guys hear me? How are you all doing? Everyone being beautiful? You better be beautiful, because you all are beautiful, and if you tell me you're not beautiful, I'm going to argue with you because you are beautiful. It's a mouthful. How we doing? Look at this. Thiefy, Rudiski, what's going on? The Betchhead, Potato, Alexander, Sigmund, the new false prophet, Tyler, Mai, Israel, Y Cries, Melon, what's going on? T, how are you all doing? What's going on? King, Miss Wholesome, Y Plays, Melon got yeeted. I'm not gonna ask. How are you all doing? Are you guys all taking good care of yourselves? You guys good? Yeah, what's going on? Bonbon can be dangerous. Bonbon can definitely be scary. For sure. Are you guys doing well though? So I'm gonna go on a little rant because that's what I do. Sometimes I just need to let it out. Let it out. Speak my mind. I'll be on live feed a little bit later today playing some video games. I took a few days off. I was super busy. Congratulations to Grizzly coming back as well. You know, I wanted to talk about something that kind of happened in my real career outside of YouTube and stuff like that. Is the feed, is everything running well? Testing 1 2. Okay. I'm gonna try to sit up with good posture because I'm over here. I'm getting fat. That's the problem. Getting fat, I'm over here like slouching over because I have weak abdominals, right? People always think it's your back. Sometimes it's your abdominals. Let's see what we got. All right, we're going to talk about something real quick. Something that I feel is important because this is what I always do. Drink my tea, sip my tea. So, today was an interesting day. I obviously can't disclose a lot because, you know, my patients, they have privacy rights, so I can't really give too much information about them, which is a good thing, right? That's their privacy rights. But I had a certain thing happen within, it wasn't today, it was within the last week, and you know, it was quite frustrating because somebody tried to undervalue their own career at the expense of mine. And so what they said is, you know I'm not a licensed healthcare professional, and you know, I know, but you know, in my job, it's very difficult. You know, I know it's not as difficult as yours. And I go, whoa, what are you talking about? And I asked the person where they worked at, and they, you know, they work in a very tough job. I go, your job is tougher than mine. Like, yeah, sure, my job is tough. I gotta lift patients up all day. A lot of them don't want to get up because they're in rehab. I gotta lift them up. We gotta motivate them. Sometimes we got to tell families that their grandmothers should be on hospice care, and you got to break that news to them. So, you know, my job has a lot of physical and emotional toll to it. But what I can tell you definitively is, like, high school was a lot harder than my job. High school was harder than college, and they tell you that college is harder than high school. High school is a bitch. So then what we do is we tell a bunch of these high school students that, oh, wait till you get into the real world. Well, in the real world, you're not sitting in a single classroom for fucking 8 hours and worrying about grades. I don't got to worry about grades. And so what we have is we have this thing where people, they value whether their career is difficult based on the society's perception of whether they're successful or not. And it's absurd. You know, so as an example, like when I was in grad school, so I have 3 separate degrees, right? I had to do a full year internship in sociology as a teacher assistant at the University of Rhode Island. And I helped Dr. Medera. She led the research and paid maternity leave. And while she did that, I was her teacher assistant teaching 240 college students sociology. She taught them. I helped make the exams. I helped run all the study sessions, all of the study groups. I mean, I love Dr. Medera. She's such a beautiful person. And her college coursework and her research as a PhD professor is amazing. And so I had to do that. And then I also had to do a year under my psychology degree, being a behavior specialist. And I was also a crisis chat person, sort of. So, and then in grad school, you have to work for about over a year, and all of that stuff is free. You don't get paid for that. So I'm massively in debt from college. People want to blame me for that. And then you have to do years and years of internships that you don't get paid for. It's pretty much free labor. And in its own way, it's been, really difficult. But like when I was younger and I worked in fast food, that was some of the hardest shit I've ever done in my life. High school was worse than college. Working in fast food was way harder than working in the medical field, where you're a slave. I have my own medical license. I have my own autonomy. Nobody tells me what to do except if there's precautions from a doctor. And so what I want you all to know is that don't you let anyone, and I mean this, undervalue what you're doing because they feel like their career is harder or that they're more successful, so therefore they worked harder. That's not the case. That's not always the case. My point is that you don't have to undervalue what you're doing right now as a way of pretending like you're not working hard enough. We're all busy. We live in a service-based economy. I don't know how fucked up this is, so you guys feel free to tell me if I'm wrong. I would rather tell a family that I think that their grandmother needs to go on hospice care and it's important for them to remain comfortable, and then I don't think they have too much longer. As an interdisciplinary team, we work with multiple people. Than to sit behind a counter at a fast food restaurant and have fucking Karen yell at me because she can't combine her 2 coupons, even though the fucking coupons say you can't combine them. And then they do the whole, I want to talk to your supervisor. Yeah, well, I want to talk to your parents and ask them why they raised an asshole. So my point is that you guys are all doing things, right? You're all doing things. You're in high school. Don't let your teachers undervalue that as if that's not important, because it is. It's hard work. High school is hard work. All right, I have 3 separate degrees. I went to school for about 7 or 8 years, okay? High school was harder for me than college. College, I had a lot of freedom, to be honest with you, all right? And then if you're in college, don't let them undervalue that and pretend like the real-life workforce is harder than college. College, you got to worry about arbitrary grades. You got to hope that your professor doesn't wake up on the wrong side of the bed and is an asshole to you. In fact, if you're a college student, and I'm going to give you the best advice that you can do, that no one talks about, use Rate My Professor, and always make sure that your courses are ran by the best professors. Even if you have to wait a year to get the course, you'll get better grades, and then you can get into graduate school, okay? So even college is based on a political arbitrary system, and it's disgusting. My point, but then I see like sometimes these people, oh, well, you're a college student, wait till you get into the real life workforce. The real life workforce? I'm in the real life workforce. I can go in to work at any time I want, because I worked hard for my career. I can get out when I need to when I'm done with my patients. I have my own medical license. No one tells me what to do. I remain ethical. I tell others what needs to be done for my patients. Sounds pretty good. I get to come home, have a beer or 2, chill with you guys, play some video games. Sounds pretty fucking awesome to me. All right? A lot of you can't do that. Some of you work 2 jobs. Some of you, don't get me wrong. The medical field is tough. I think a lot of us get abused, especially nurses. They get abused by patients a lot. They go underreported, right? But that doesn't mean anything. A lot of you people are working hard in your own way. And if you don't feel like you're working hard, then in a way you're probably working smart. And I actually have a family member, right? Everybody in the family is criticizing them because they got out of high school and they didn't go to college right away. And they're like, well, they need to get a real job. And I'm like, well, I don't blame them for not wanting to get a real job, because then they're going to get paid shit. They're going to sacrifice their well-being, their mental health to be treated like a slave. I don't blame them. You know what I mean? Like I get it. You got to have a job. You got to pay your bills. I get it. You can't be lazy. I understand. But I'm literally looking at my family member and be like, I understand it. You don't want to be treated like shit and get paid like shit and ruin your quality. I get it. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I get it. My point is that you guys are all working hard. Don't let anybody try to make their success make it seem like you're not hustling, right? Because you're doing your thing, all right? And if you feel like you're not doing hard enough or you're working hard enough, it's either because society is telling you, and trust me, society can be wrong a lot of the times, or 2, you're really not. You're not, achieving the potential that you truly innately think that you can get to, and then that's when it's like, all right, what can I do to get there? But like I just saw a comment on my YouTube, actually. I just saw a comment. It made me feel bad. Somebody said, I work at a gas station. It's hard for me to do YouTube and work at a gas station, something like that. You know, I'm not a licensed healthcare pro. You guys can check it. It's on my last community tab. And the person was like, you know, and I'm like, why does it matter if your job is difficult. It's a service-based economy. You gotta talk to customers. You gotta be there. You gotta deal with people with all their prices, and it's emotional labor. It's hard, and it's hard work. I don't care what anyone says. It's hard work. It's difficult. So don't ever let anyone else try to make it seem like what you're doing is shit just because of their own career, because that's narcissism, right? What narcissism is that you purposely take people down a notch to increase your own ego, right? So what you do is you try to say, well, you know, your job's not as hard as mine. I got to tell patients this and that, or I got to lift patients all day. I weigh the most weight I've ever weighed in my life. I feel nice, healthy, and fit. I feel fucking good. My beach body, my dad body doesn't show that. I got a little tummy now. I'm getting fat. I feel good. I'd rather feel like this than... Yeah, I weighed 140 pounds my whole life. I always felt underweight, and you always have... You know, women who say, oh, I don't like a skinny man. And it's like, oh, well, fucking thanks. I was born like this. I didn't ask to be born like a dog bone, right? But there's benefits to working hard. But my point is that you all hustle and you're doing your thing, all right? Don't fuck with people that try to tell you that your rhythm is off, all right? Unless you want to dance better a certain style, you may be creating your own style. So do your thing. There's, I have people who laugh at me and say, you're trying to do YouTube. That's funny. Why don't you start a real business? I'm like, 'cause I'm happy. I'm happy. I get to pay. It's not a lot of money. I get to pay my video editors $10 a video. Some of these are college students, and my videos are easy to make. Some of them can make them in 30 minutes. Easy, $10. Oh, well, you know, because OTs, they can make anywhere between, if they work, you know, $60, $70 an hour. I don't make that on YouTube. I lose money on YouTube because I got to spend my real life money in helping build it, right? So I lose money. And be like, oh, well, and it's like, because I like it. I like doing it. I like the potential. I like helping people. I like being fucking ridiculous and outrageous and a big man baby every time I lose in a video game where I have to cry rampantly and blame lag and not blame my own skills because that's the responsible thing to do. I like doing it. And yeah, people who actually will try to belittle me for it. Oh, well, you're an OT. Why don't you just work 70 hours a week so I can brag about all the, buy a brand new car that's $60,000 and brag? Fuck that. I'd rather work 30 hours doing that and 80 hours doing this, barely making money because I like the future. I like what I can do. So I want you guys to know, my plan is actually eventually one day be a full-time YouTuber, because then I can live in Mauritius with my girlfriend. It's hard to be an OT in Mauritius. They don't get paid enough anyways. So this YouTube stuff that I'm building, it's for the future, so I can do it full time and actually have I work a full-time job. Imagine what I could do on YouTube if I only got to work on YouTube full time. Oh my God, we'd have videos coming out every day, crazy content. I would love to do it. And I have people who belittle me for that. And they're like, you're successful. Who would want to brag about being a YouTuber? And I was like, I get it, but this is what I want to do. So I want you all to know, you do what you want to do. You keep hustling, and don't fuck with those sort of people. If you have a dream, if you have a goal and you're working towards it, why are you going to convince toxic people that what you're doing is appropriate when you're too you don't got time for that. You're too busy. You got to be making moves. You got to be moving forward your goal. And I'm telling you right now, it's going to be hard for you to move forward towards your goal while convincing assholes over here that the moves that you're making are appropriate. All right? You don't got time for it. You only got time for people who are going to help you move forward. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, the biggest tragedy is when people are trying to go this way, but they're too focused on people over here, and they're trying to go over here, and they're trying to convince the people over here that they're trying to go over here, and next thing you know, they're focusing more time over here trying to convince them that going over here is better. And if that's confusing, that's what a lot of people fucking do. Stop doing it. Keep hustling. Do what you're doing. Don't let other people undervalue your goal, your rhythm, your dance, your moves, your momentum, your velocity, your acceleration. I'm making shit up now, words that don't make sense, but it sounded good. You focus on you, And only mess with people who are going to propel you forward. You ain't got time over here. This is a mess over here. Okay, this is where the creepers are. Leave them alone. You're over here. And don't undervalue what you're doing. If you're working a job at a gas station, if you're working in fast food, or you're working at a grocery store, or you're working in a hotel, or whatever the fuck you're doing, you know, what you're doing is appropriate right now for you. And if you're unsatisfied with it, definitely find a way to outgrow it. One of my best friends, he kept saying, oh, college is not for me. We had this conversation like 7 years ago, and he's almost done with his master's degree. And I had to push him. I had to motivate him a little bit. Because I was one of those people over here. I wasn't one of those people over here. I was one of those people over here being like, dude, this is what you want to do. You want to get out of working in this convenience store with me. Actually, it was a retailer. I was like, this is what we need to do. Like, let's do it. Let's motivate each other. We both went into college, and here I am, and he's almost done with his master's degree because we were over here. We only fucked with people on this side. Okay? And when we were in that situation, we understood that when we worked in that retailer, we had to be there for a reason. And the reason is that it made us so miserable. And we were like, I understand some people can live. I can't do this. I'm going to fucking throw the coupons at Karen one day, and I'm going to get arrested. Right? So we knew that was appropriate right then and there, because it motivated me to continue going over here. Whereas people, wherever you are now, they want you to be focused on there and tell you can't do anything else. So whatever you're doing in its own way, I bet you it's a bitch. I bet you it's tough work. It's emotional. Maybe it's physical. And if it's neither, it's time consuming, and your time is important. And whenever we have to do something that we don't really want to do, right? That's work. You know, I don't want to hear any bitching. But Karl Marx talked about, I don't want to hear any bitch. I'm not saying I'm a communist, I assure you. But Karl Marx, in his theories, talked about how our identities to a project, right? Think about it this way, right? Before industrialism, we live in a post-industrial society, right? So that means we live in a service-based economy. Before industrialism, way before industrial, even before pre-industrial, like way before, okay? When you worked at something, like say if you were the person responsible for bringing fish or meat back to the tribe, just use that as an example, you had an identity to your product, right? You knew it's my job to bring food back to everyone else, right? So you worked for the product that you were making, that you were trying to acquire. You don't do that anymore. You don't work for your meat, you don't work for your water, you work for money that ends up paying for it. So you kind of lose a little bit of an identity aspect to your job. But furthermore, you had a creative mindset in terms of how you acquired that product, okay? So if you were the hunter or the fisherman, you had to decide when you were going to fish, when you were going to hunt, how you were going to hunt, and the creativity that you brought into it was your relation to the product itself. You knew that the acquisition of the product was based on your creativity, your input. That's what makes you human. You don't do that anymore. Now you get told how to sell a product. Now you get told how to do something. Now you get told to stay in the factory line. When you did this, you were social with your other peers, right? You were social. You were talking to the other people in your community. You were talking to your fellow hunters, and you were talking, and that's what makes us, we are social creatures. That's what we are. If you were to live in a forest from the ages of 0 to 12, and then you came and got integrated in society, you would never be able to integrate. You would never be able to speak our language. Tarzan is bullshit, unfortunately. We know that clinically. There's plenty of case studies on that. Well, then when you work these mundane jobs, you get stripped of that social aspect, unless you work a service-based job. And then the question is, how social is it when you have to read a script all day? Is it really you? Anyways, my point is that I don't blame people who don't really want to work in these certain areas because you're stripped of everything. So my point is that wherever you are right now, even if you're miserable, okay, you will find a way to continue propelling forward. You got to make sure that you have the right things in line. Only mess with people that are willing to support your vision, and keep going for that vision, because you're not supposed to have life figured out. I can tell you, not only as a practitioner, not only as an educated man, we do our society a disservice when we tell these kids that they need to know what they need to do by the time that they graduate high school. That's bullshit. You are not supposed to know. When you go to college and they're like, you don't know what you want to do? I'm almost 30 years old. I have 3 separate college degrees. I know that sounds braggish. Maybe it's a humble brag. I still don't know what I want. Now I just decided I would like to do YouTube. I just spent 29 years getting all of this stuff. Fuck it, I kind of want to do this now. And yet we tell you at the age of 18 you're supposed to have life figured out. That's absolute bullshit. It's horseshit. I don't think I've ever had a patient who was 50 years old who knew what the hell they were doing. Yeah, I did this my whole life, but I don't really know what I want to do in the future. You don't ever know. Life is so dynamic. The idea you're supposed to have everything laid out at such a young age is horseshit. It's stupid. It's dumb. We set people up for failure. That's fucking awful. No, if you told me 3 years ago, 6 years ago, 9 years ago, that I would be in a relationship with Darielle, that I would want to get married instead, oh, hell no. I was one of those college boys enjoying life. I was like, marriage is not for me. I'm going to enjoy this. I enjoy my time. I enjoy being single. Now I'm like, what do I have to do in order to be with Darielle? I will sacrifice being an OT. I will live in another country to be with that girl. Whew. She cute. She cute. Right? So your life, it's always filled with surprises. That's the beautiful part of life. And we fucking tell you it's supposed to be a book that you've already written. That's garbage. Imagine if you started a book. You really like the book. Maybe you don't like the book, but you got to read it anyways because that's what life is. And someone says, hey, by the way, in a couple of chapters, his main kid, the main character, his friend dies. And then what he does is he jumps off a bridge and lands on a glacier right up his ass and he splits in two. Right? It fucking ruins the book. So when you're supposed to have everything figured out, it's nonsense. It's garbage. You're not supposed to have your life figured out. You're not supposed to have your job figured out. You're not supposed to figure out what you want. It's dynamic. You're going to be flexible. And what you're doing now is relative to where you're supposed to be at. And if you feel like it's not, you will have the motivation, hopefully, to eventually change it. But don't undervalue yourself. Don't let people undervalue you. Don't let people sell you short because it's garbage. Because when they do that, it's more desperate attempt on them to make themselves feel better rather than it being actual genuine advice to make you do better. Because we're not just going to look at somebody and say, oh, what you do is not important or not successful, blah, 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 what? Making $100,000 a year working with Excel sheets is skilled? What is skilled anymore? In my opinion, soft skills are more important than hard skills. Hard skills can be learned. Soft skills cannot. Your attitude, the way that you perceive life. So anyways, my point is that what you're doing is important. Don't let anyone undervalue that. Keep hustling, keep focusing, staying on the dream that you want to go at. I mean that. I genuinely mean that. Don't let people like me make it seem like what you're doing is irrelevant or I had to bust my ass off. And let me tell you, my job is easier now than what it was in graduate school and in college, making my way here. In graduate school, I had to drive 2 hours one way and 2 hours back, plus a 10, 12-hour day. There were times I was sleeping in my car in a parking lot. That was still easier. In my opinion, than being a stay-at-home mom. Fuck that. Could never do it. Kids, oh my God, food, you got to take care of. I can't even take care of myself. You want me to take care of a kid full time? Make sure the house is clean. You think my house is clean? I got a pair of pants on the floor right there. I got a whole bunch of shit unplugged there. I got 4 cans right there. That's a McDonald's thing. That shouldn't even be there. I got this. I think I got like 14 quarters over here. Why the fuck do I have 14 quarters right here? Why? There's no reason for the 14 quarters, but they're there. I got my phone, my iPhone. That's that. Look at that. It's not even charged. It's gonna die. I have shit all over the place. You want me to be a stay-at-home mom? I would probably kill the kid. Not on purpose. I'm not clinically insane. I can take care of you in a subacute care. But if it's my child in my house, I'm going to need help. So what you're doing is valuable. It's important. Continue striving forward. Try to do your best to follow your dreams. I genuinely mean that. And if you don't have life figured out, so what? I'm 30 years old almost. I still don't have things figured out. All right, I'm going to go on live feed later. I had to just rant because I just don't like when people undervalue your careers. All right, working at a gas station, that shit's tough. I'm telling you, it's tough. I would rather do what I'm doing now any day of the week than work and deal with Karen all day with a coupon situation. All right? Don't let people make you feel like your job and what you're doing is unimportant because it's narcissism. Every job is needed. Most are necessary. And I love y'all. Keep working hard, do your own thing, follow what you love. I genuinely mean that. I'm going to get going, though. I'm going to go on live feed on Twitch in a little bit. But I love you all. You guys are great people. Focus on people who will motivate you to continue achieving what you want to. And that's my rant. I feel better. Bye.